Hi, welcome to day 2 of Elevate Your Life. So happy you're here today. We are going to fast track your success with my favorite tool that I teach. I think in my whole entire program. Hi, Kathy. Hey, everybody. I would love to know in the chat what your favorite takeaway was from yesterday. So tell me your favorite takeaway from yesterday, and then we will get started. I also want to say thanks for those who share it on social media. We love when you snap a little picture of your setup as you're listening and share on social. Just tag us at ediewadsworth.com or at ediewadsworth on Instagram. If you are new and you just like made it here maybe for the first time, oh, hi, Heather. We are so happy you're here. And I am Dr. Edie Wadsworth, founder. I'm a life coach and a physician, founder of Life Mentoring School and the brand new Life Mentoring School Christian Life Coach Certification Program. So I am really happy you're here. I love that, Deborah. Her takeaway was don't give up on yourself. Yes. Thoughts are powerful. Choose them on purpose. Yes, Kim. This is what we preach over and over and practice over and over in my program. So make sure you have joined the Facebook group so that you can participate in the community and the giveaways. Remember that we are having class. We had class yesterday, today, tomorrow, and Friday. We're taking Thursday off because I'm taking a group of my clients on a hike in the Smoky Mountains. We're going to hike the Jump Off Trail. And I can't wait for that. Oh, let me turn on live chat so that we'll have a transcript. And let me go find my Angela. Yeah, so we're excited. So if you are coming to the live event and you're going to be here early or you live in the area, you got an email about the hike. And we are excited about that. We will hopefully be able to do a little behind the scenes for you that we can post in the Facebook group. Hi, Rachel. I can't wait to see you. I know it's going to be so fun. So I think we're all set and ready to go. Today is all about creating emotional freedom for yourself. And you might wonder what that has to do with habits, but I'm going to tell you it has everything to do with habits. And when you learn this, and not by just hearing it, but when you actually practice it, and as you practice it, you'll get better and better at it. What you will find is that not only in the area of habits, but seriously, you will just 10x your whole entire life, the way you experience your life, the goals you're able to set and keep. I really do believe this is the secret to anything you want to create in your life. And it makes every experience you have and every relationship you have better when you create emotional freedom for yourself. Now, most of us think that our emotional lives are at the effect of other people. So yesterday, I taught you the creation cycle. We talked about thoughts, feelings, and actions. We didn't talk much about what's outside of you. This is what you're creating in your inner life, what you're creating in your, or what's happening in your outer life. Feels like it's out of your control. Most of the time, it is out of your control. So what happens in your outer life? Well, you just tell me something that has happened in your life lately that you don't have control of that has caused a negative emotion for you. Let me pull the chat back up so I can see them. What has happened lately in your life that has caused a negative emotion? Getting COVID, health issues, adult son, aging parents, diagnosed with high blood pressure. Oh, we have lots of COVID. Son failed a class. Family members struggling with health, lost a job. Somebody said just jerks. Jerks in the world. Yes. Job stress, kids that are living unwisely, dealing with an addiction in my son. Yeah. So lots of things happen to us that are out of our control that we really do feel like cause these emotions that we don't like. And here is what I will tell you is true. The emotions that they're causing, so for and maybe tell me what the emotion is. That will help too. So you told me the circumstance that caused the emotion for you. Actually, it wasn't the circumstance that caused it, but I'm going to tell you that in a second. What is the emotion that you feel? Sadness, fear, anger. Yeah, I'm going to write some of those down on my board. Anxiety, grief, brokenhearted, fear, lots of fear, defeat. Yep. Frustration. Okay. Failure. Yeah. Okay. So we have these emotions that we feel: failure, grief, sadness, defeat. Now, here's the thing: overwhelmed. Yep. Discouragement, hurt, betrayed. Exactly. Now, most of us are very dismissive of emotions. We think we can't trust them. We think we don't have control over them. We've been sort of conditioned by society that they're not important. Those are soft things. But I want to tell you something. Your emotional life is so important because it drives all of the actions you take or don't take. All of them. And our tendency is to try to avoid our emotions, to distract ourselves from them, to push them aside, to not trust them. That is our tendency. That is what leads to bad habits, y'all. Everything, because bad habits are just actions that you take. So when you're taking actions that you know don't serve you, that you don't actually like, you're taking those from negative emotions. You're taking those mainly from this one creation cycle that I'm going to show you. So something happens in your life, you feel frustrated, sad, defeated, grief, all of those things. And your thought is, this is too much. I can't handle this emotion. This emotion is a problem. And because we think that, because we haven't gotten to the place where we can allow those emotions, which is the key to creating the life you want, being able to allow and generate emotions, because we think it's a problem. I can't handle this. This is too much. What happens is we get this urge to distract ourselves from it, to push it aside, to not be willing to be available for that emotion. And most often, the action that we choose, what we choose when we feel this urge to get away from that emotion, to distract ourselves, is we choose things like spending and food. For some people, it's worse, maybe pornography or some other, even addiction, right? Eating, whatever it is that we choose, we're choosing those actions from an emotion that we don't want to feel. So I want you to think of how powerful this is. We are choosing bad habits, and it forms this rut in our brain because we don't want to feel grief, sadness, frustration, failure, defeat. But here is the best news I have for you. This thought, I can't handle this, that this emotion is a problem, that thought right there is the one that once we change that thought and are willing to feel this emotion, I can handle any emotion. An emotion is a vibration in my body. It comes and goes. I'm willing to feel it. Once we are willing to switch from this creation cycle that creates habits that don't serve us, from mainly this thought that this emotion is a problem, once we change that to this is not a problem, I'm willing to feel any emotion. The feeling that we have is allowance, is confidence. I can handle any emotion. I actually teach a whole class inside Life Mentoring School on how you create confidence for yourself. Confidence just means you're willing to feel any emotion. I trust myself. I'm confident that I can feel any emotion. And this takes practice because we're out of practice of doing it. And I have read, I feel like hundreds, probably not that many books on emotions, but how emotions affect our health and how it's so intertwined with ill health and how it causes disease in our bodies because we keep all those emotions trapped in our bodies. We're not willing to process them, not willing to be with them, to let them be in our bodies. And the vibrations of those negative emotions are harmful to our cells. And so it's really, really important to become aware of what we do with negative emotions when they come up. And here's what I promise you, no matter how good you get at thought work, no matter how good you get at managing this, it's always going to be a part of your life. I call it the up and down life. It's the up and down life. It's the quote, here is the world. Beautiful and terrible things will happen. Do not be afraid. Frederick Buechner said that. I have that in my office because life is always going to throw us things that we're going to have thoughts that cause us to feel negative emotions, and learning to be with those, to process those, to allow them to be in our bodies. They come and go. When we resist them, when we don't allow them to be in our bodies, when we try to get away from them, when we tell ourselves we can't handle them, that is when we get into trouble. That is what drives us to overeat, overspend, overscroll, over Facebook, all of those bad habits that we don't love, that don't serve us, come from an emotion that we're not willing to feel. And here's what I can promise you. Emotions are vibrations in your body. Now, one of the reasons, and I have a whole teaching about this also inside of Life Mentoring School, so I'm not going to go into it in depth, but one of the reasons that this can feel so difficult is that if you were raised with any kind of trauma, and most of us were in some way or another, you'll have these emotions that sort of take your body by surprise. You're so in the habit of feeling them that you feel like they're coming into your body without permission. They kind of are when you have a history of trauma. And what you have to do is normalize those emotions. You have to learn to say, oh, this is my brain offering me this thought again. This is my body creating this emotion. And you have to learn to create safety for yourself instead of feeling like this is the end of the world. That I used to have such trouble feeling rejection because it felt like this is the end of the world, probably stemming from something in my childhood. And now I've taught myself, oh, no, this is not the end of the world. I can feel rejection. Rejection feels kind of terrible in my body, but once I let it be there and make peace with it and allow it to be there and ask myself, oh, what does this feel like? Let me breathe through it. Let me process it. Let me do something physical to help my body process it. Then I go, oh, I'm involved in this bad habit for years just because I wouldn't feel that, because I wouldn't feel rejection, because I wouldn't feel disappointed, because I didn't want to feel grief, because I didn't want to feel whatever. And you will get so much freedom for yourself when you begin to allow emotional experiences in your body. This is the first step for creating emotional freedom, is allowance. The second step for creating emotional freedom for yourself is learning how to generate emotions that you want to generate. And this really is the fast track for success in every area of your life, is deciding the actions that you want to take. So maybe you want to eat well. Maybe you want to move your body more. Maybe you want to get your house organized. Whatever the actions that you want to take, ask yourself, how am I going to have to feel in order to do that? How am I going to have to feel in order to eat well, to move my body? How am I going to have to feel in order to process my emotions, right? In order to allow those urges to be there without answering them with food and scrolling and drink and all the other things that we answer those emotions with, right? And part of the magic here is then working backwards and coming up with the thought that gets us there. So yesterday we started with the thought and we went this way. But if you start with the actions, how are you going to have to feel and think in order to take those actions? And you can generate any emotion in your body that you want to at any time by how you choose to think about the situation. So I love feeling joy. How can I create more joy in my life? I pick thoughts that make me feel joyful. I love the thought God is for me. Everything that happens is for me, not to me. I love the thought, everywhere I look, I see miracles. And as I experience that thought and feel the joy from that, peace from that, the love from that, then I take actions that actually serve me. So ask yourself, what are the emotions that you want to feel? I want to feel more peace. I want to feel less pressure. I want to feel more confidence, more joy, more love. How am I going to have to think in order to do that? Now, if it's related to something like weight, maybe you decide to think, I'm easily fit and healthy. I suggest picking thoughts that are kind of short. I wrote a long one here, and then I was like, yeah, if I was practicing that thought, I would shorten it to I easily stay fit and healthy. And that makes me feel excited, motivated, peaceful, confident, a love for how God made my body to function, right? And so, whatever the habit is that you know you want to ditch, I promise you the reason you're stuck in that habit loop is because you're not willing to feel emotions. You're not allowing yourself to feel the negative emotions from all the thoughts you have about things that are happening in your life, process those through, and then deciding on purpose, okay, I processed that through. Now here's what I want to create. I want to lose some weight. I want to get healthy. I want to get my house organized. I want to improve my relationships. I want to live more from love. I want to feel more joy. That could be the result that you want to create. So, how are you going to have to think and feel in your life in order to create that? This is the super fuel that you pour on your life in order to make things go so much faster. I promise you, this is the key. And this is the thing that we're not very skilled at. We think that the reason we feel this way is because somebody said something to us, or we lost our job, or our kids are in whatever situation they're in. That's not why we feel the way we feel. The reason we feel the way we feel is because we have thoughts about those things. And maybe we want to keep those thoughts for a while. But I promise you that once you have thought those thoughts and generated those negative emotions, you need to allow those emotions to process through you. And as you do that, you will train your body that when we feel negative emotion, it's not a problem. I'm willing to feel it. And as you increase your capacity for feeling those negative emotions, for being with them, you increase your capacity for feeling and generating positive emotions too. So it takes the experience of your life from this to this. I'm willing to feel the negative emotion. I'm willing to generate the positive emotion because I want to broaden my experience of life. I want to give myself this emotional freedom. I don't have to be protected from feeling these emotions. I am willing to feel them. I am willing to feel anything. And what will happen is as you practice this, you will get so much better at setting goals because you're not afraid to fail. You'll get so much better at relationships because you won't make a fight with your husband mean it's the end of the world. You're like, yeah, I feel some negative emotion. I'm willing to feel that. It will allow you to hold more space for yourself for when you feel different emotions, but also for when other people are experiencing their emotions. This has helped me so much in my relationship with Thomas because he has a very volatile, little emotional makeup. And it would be so easy to make his emotions mean something wrong about me. No, he gets to have his emotions too, right? So does my husband. So does everybody in my life. This will improve your relationship so drastically because you'll stop trying to manage everybody else's emotions. Because guess where their emotions come from? Their thoughts. And I promise you, when you start taking good care of your emotional life, you won't have time to micromanage everybody else's. You'll realize that yours is a full-time job. And your experience of life will be so much fuller, truer, better, because you'll trust yourself to feel whatever emotion comes up. And I promise you, if you feel it instead of resist it, it won't stay long. Emotions are like waves, they come and go. And as you make peace with this part of life, you will gain so much freedom. You will understand, like, oh, I get why she says this is the key. This is something that most of us don't do, which is why we get stuck in negative habit loops. We're not willing to allow emotions. So we take the first thing that relieves us of that emotion. It's usually food, maybe alcohol, maybe spending, maybe scrolling, whatever it is. We want something to help us feel better. But I promise you, that thing doesn't make you feel better, does it? Because an hour later, you're mad at yourself for eating too much or spending too much or whatever. I promise you that just allowing that first emotion, because what happens if you don't allow the first negative emotion and you eat too much to try to help yourself feel better, an hour later, now you still haven't processed the first negative emotion. And now you have shame and guilt and more negative emotion on top of it because you overate again or because you spent too much again. So the key to getting true freedom here is just to feel the negative emotion that you created with your thoughts, not beating yourself up for it, not making yourself wrong for it, not telling yourself, I can't handle this, not telling yourself this is a problem. No, this is what it means to be human. This is what it means to be human. And I can sit with myself in those human emotions. I'm willing to do that. And as you stop making your emotions a problem, and as you stop making other people's emotions a problem, your life explodes. And you learn then from the practice of allowing emotions how to generate the emotions you want more often. You learn that it comes from your mind. It comes from how you see the world, how you choose to see the things that happen to you. Do you choose to have faith and believe that everything is working together for your good and accept the peace and the love that comes from that? Or do you choose to say, no, this is a problem and this is a problem and this is a problem? What if none of it is a problem? What if all of it is for us and for our good? What if all of it can be used in our lives to make us who God called us to be? Yes. One of my favorite verses in all the scripture, Romans 8:28. Thanks for sharing that, girls. And as you do that, you're going to get so much freedom. I would love to answer any questions that you have on this. I see some already. I would love for you to raise your virtual hand and we can just talk through it together if you're going through something that feels super difficult. Sometimes the examples that we have from talking through things is so powerful. Tomorrow, let me say this. Tomorrow, we are going to jump into some specific habits to create energy for ourselves. And we're going to talk about health a little bit. We're going to talk about food and movement, just the ways that we generate energy for ourselves that then allows us to show up to our lives and to have the energy that we need to create these good habits, to do all this work. We need to have energy and clarity in our minds, and we give ourselves that gift by how we nourish ourselves, how we move. So we're going to talk about some specific ones tomorrow. So basically, the first day we covered the thought line. Today we covered the feeling line. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the action line. All right, Jessica, does talking through circumstances effectively process your emotions, or do we need to discover the thought behind it to truly process it? It seems easy to talk about problems with friends, but is it helpful if we don't backtrack to our thoughts? Great question. And what we tend to do when we talk to our friends is we just most people tend to just complain, right? It just becomes a complaint session instead of really being mindful of what we're thinking that caused that. I think processing emotions, and I don't have time to go into the whole thing here. There was another question that Kristen asked about processing emotions. You can use your brain to help you start the process of processing emotions. You can ask yourself, okay, sometimes I put my hand over my heart and I just ask myself, okay, where am I feeling this emotion in my body? What does it feel like? And I can describe that. I can ask myself questions about it. Does it feel hot or cold? Do I feel, a lot of times the negative emotions that I get them in my throat and chest and it kind of feels hot. So I'll describe it the best I can. But And then one of the things that I will often tell myself after I describe it is, this isn't a problem. This is just what it means to be human. And I can sit with myself in this emotion and not make myself wrong for having it. This is not a problem. And I'll just breathe through it. A lot of times when I teach the class inside Life Mentoring School on process, we have a whole class on processing emotions. Physical things help because emotions are in your body. And so physically processing them, moving, singing, crying, running, rocking, this is why when we have babies, we rock babies, we pat them when they're upset, because that physically helps us work out our emotions. So I often recommend something physical. But even just the awareness of it as you first start will be so powerful. I was awarded a grant at work from an outside source. The check arrived in July 2021. The person responsible for depositing the check didn't do it, and then the check is void. It was a $1,500 grant. How do I move past being discouraged about this at my place of work? Okay, so a lot of times what causes us pain is that we fight with reality. We think, probably your main thought about this, Jessica, is this shouldn't have happened, right? And when you think something shouldn't have happened, and you could put any plethora of things into this, when you think that this shouldn't have happened, you feel disappointed, discouraged, right? And then you take the action from that. The first step is to allow yourself to feel that. Let yourself go all the way with feeling discouraged. What does it feel like in your body? Have you really processed it? My guess is, since this happened a year ago, you haven't processed it because it's still here. So just allow yourself some time to be with the disappointment, the discouragement, to process it. And then here's a really powerful thing that I often help my clients see. Should this have happened or not? What we know is the reality is it did happen. And I choose to believe that the things that do happen to us happen for us somehow. So once you get past processing that negative emotion, maybe you figure out ways that this was for you somehow. And allow yourself to distance yourself from the thought that this shouldn't have happened. Maybe it should have happened. We know that it should have happened because it did happen. And reality is the closest thing to truth that we have besides the scriptures. Like, what actually happens, that was true because that happened, right? And so arguing with reality is a losing battle. We are never going to win it. Never, ever, ever, ever. So making peace with reality, asking ourselves, how could this be for me? What is this? What is a lesson that I can learn from this? How can I use this to my benefit somehow? Those kind of questions will sometimes give you some freedom from the pain of this. You're causing this pain for yourself, not by what actually happened, but by your thought that it shouldn't have happened, right? How does someone release emotions if I dealt with trauma and I hold everything in? My family has been cruel since my mom died. A lot of times, Janice, I think the first step, because the emotions might feel so heavy for you, is you might want to get some therapy. I think we can do great emotional work and coaching, but if you've never talked through something, it might be helpful to talk through it. If you've done, now for myself, I've done a lot of therapy in the past, so I've just gotten good at leading myself through processing emotions. But if you've never done it before, that might be a good first step. Your thought that my family has treated me, or my family has been cruel since my mom died, that thought is probably causing you a lot of pain. And so becoming aware of that, the thought, are you willing to loosen your grip on that thought? I often teach my clients that when we hold on to painful thoughts, it's like we're pressing a porcupine against our chest. And it does feel hard to let go of it. But as you practice letting go of painful thoughts like that, you will get so much freedom. What if they're all just humans and doing what humans do sometimes after people die, right? And any way that you can get yourself to a place where you can distance yourself a little bit from the thought instead of clinging so tightly to the thought that's causing you pain, can be helpful. Let's bring on Doreen. Let's see if we can bring on Doreen. I have a couple of people who raised their hand to talk through some things live, which is always super helpful. Always ask yourself, y'all, even if your situation is a little bit different, how am I getting just what I need from the coaching that someone else receives? Because I promise you will and you can, because we're pretty much all the same. We're all humans with so many of the same issues. Okay, so Doreen declined. She probably didn't mean to raise her hand. Let's see if Janice wants to come on. Janice, if you don't mean to raise your virtual hand, just click that raise hand button and lower your hand. Let's see if Janice wants to come on. How can I detect the thought when I have, oh, here she is. We'll do that question in a second. Hi, Janet. Is it Janice? Yes. Oh, let's see. You're muted. Asked to unmute. Hi, darling.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. How can I help you today?
Oh, I just had the question about the trauma. I hold everything in, so I have trouble releasing everything. And our family, since mom died, has been divided, 4 from one dad and 4 from another. So I've lived with sexual abuse, I've lived with physical abuse, bullying. There's just so much that I've dealt with, and I just tend to stay to myself, and family has stayed away since mom died. And it's hard.
Yeah. And what if you just allowed all of that to be there, Janice? What if you just allowed it to be hard? You allowed yourself to feel what you feel. What would you say is the main emotion that you're struggling with right now?
The words that my family said when my mom died, I have a fear of flying, but she lived in California, but I did fly to the memorial. And I use essential oils. So I have a lot of oils that helps with my anxiety and my grief. And a lot of ugliness happened when they said that, but she must not miss her mom because she's not crying.
Oh. Yeah.
And
And
I rarely cry. I really cry. Even things that are going on now with stepchildren. I'm in tears now talking about it, but it's just been really, really hard for the last 4 years.
yeah. So what are you feeling right now as you sit with these emotions, as you sort of attempt to like let this out and allow it to be there?
I'm glad it's coming out.
Yeah.
I wish I have talked to people in the past, and people that I thought were friends told me I spun out of control and I'm buying people's love. And that hurt deeply. So I've dealt with that I think it's 2 years now since that friend did that. I have trust issues with her now because of what she said. We both said something we shouldn't. I apologize, and she has yet to apologize for what she said. And I feel hurt, but I still communicate occasionally. But in person hasn't happened.
Let's go back to the words that were said around your mom's funeral, that, oh, she must not love her mom. What comes up for you when they say that?
I have not been close to my mom because when I was sexually assaulted, it was my stepdad, her husband of 62 years. And she went to her grave not ever believing me that it happened. I did see a therapist at that time. And my family or his kids will say they know about it, but they have said that my dad would never do that. So I hold a lot of that in because I know it happened. I cannot hide it. And my biological siblings, they know what happened because it happened to them too.
Mhm.
And they're strong women like my mom. So, and they're very bold, and sometimes they're so bold they can be rude. I'm the quiet one. I'm the shy one. I just wish somebody will believe me when I say it happened.
Let me ask you this. If they did believe you, then what would you allow yourself to think and feel?
I believe that if they believed me, it would release this emotion that somebody had actually listened to me and that the love is there. Right now, I don't feel the love. I
Okay,
know God loves
I
me.
want to show I want to show you something so powerful, Janice. I love what you said. And we are loving you right now and praying for you right now, but I want to show you something so powerful. You said, if they believed me, I would release myself from this. Did you know that you can release yourself from this without their words?
Yes, I didn't know that, but I know it's hard.
Because their words are always someone else's words. This is for everybody, are always something that are outside of us. And we get to decide what we think and feel about those words, right? So
Yeah,
even if someone says something that we know is not true, we get to decide. Here's the way I would think about it if I were you. I believe me, and I will release myself from this emotional burden. That is a beautiful gift that you can give yourself, that even if they said the words, it wouldn't matter unless you decide to release yourself.
yeah, that's very helpful.
Yeah, we have so much power to release ourselves from stories that don't serve us, that are keeping us hostage in our own minds and hearts, right?
I believe that has kept me hostage trying to grow my business too. You know, I'm with Young Living, and there's things on the stepson child, one of the stepsons that he's been in and out of incarceration. So I have felt since I've been with Young Living that, am I worthy enough to grow this business, knowing that what he did is public record, and are they going to remove me for what he's done? How can I grow my business in a positive way, knowing of what he has done that's still hindering on my shoulders?
But why is it hindering on your shoulders?
Because of his crime.
Because you still have the thought of that replaying in your mind all the time,
Probably,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's time for a new story for you, right? People can do something to us at one time, but most of our pain, you guys, comes from the story that we tell ourselves over and over. We abuse ourselves with the story over and over and over again instead of releasing ourselves from it and going, that had nothing to do with me. That had everything to do with him. Here's how I'm going to choose to live my life. Here's how I'm going to choose to manage my mind. Here's how I'm going to choose to release myself from this pressure. This is not my burden to bear.
Yeah, I do believe that. I did leave for a short period of time because of the thought process, but I have reactivated and grown my team. And like I tell some of the family members that come around, because I am not, I'm a parent, I'm a step parent, but I am not responsible for the actions of grown adults.
Right.
And that I keep telling
And
myself over and over.
managing ourselves is enough. We cannot control other people, and managing our own lives, allowing our own emotions. The work you're doing here today, I can see already your face soften. It's like you take this virtual or actual deep breath and go, "Oh yeah, this is not mine to carry."
Right. Yeah, I'm getting better at that.
Good. And if you feel like you still need to talk, I don't know if you're in any of our small groups, but in Life Mentoring School, we have small encounter groups. We have the availability to hire, one-on-one coaches. So you can just let us know if you need more help beyond that. Okay.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much,
you for
Edie.
coming on today. You're
You're welcome.
awfully
Thank you.
brave, Mama, helping lots of people. Somebody said it in the chat, but they're right. You're not the quiet one. All right, let's bring Heather on. All righty. Hi, Heather. Oh, I see your name. Let's see here.
Can you see me?
I can't see your face. Let's see here, but I hear you. We can do
Okay.
it with that, or if you can start your video, if it allows you to start your video.
All right, your microphone's unmuted. Your video's stopped. I mean, I don't look real cute today. I was baking
It's
bread all
okay.
Let's see. I don't know where. Oh, I don't know where it says. Okay, hang on.
Okay, honey. If you're on your phone, it's usually a swipe across the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I
it's
used to do
usually
this.
you swipe. Yep.
I used to do this all the time, and it's been a while. There.
Yeah, we all got good at Zoom for a while, didn't we? Oh, there you go. Hi.
Oh, scary. Hi.
Good to see you today. How can we help you, my dear?
Well, gosh, Janice, after hearing her, I just felt like my problems are very tiny. Bless her heart.
Oh, no, don't feel like that. Our problems are all very individual, right?
Yeah. I feel like mine are kind of this big grouping. So I was trying to simplify and almost didn't put my hand up, but I just have been through a year and a half where we were going to move out of the country and pursue some huge dreams. And then COVID kind of hit and a lot of things got pulled out from under us. And I ended up what was supposed to be a month in my in-laws basement. It turned into 15 months. And I basically just really struggled. I gained a ton of weight.
Okay.
And I've had health issues with my thyroid and stuff for probably 10 years. And so I'm we're in a new home since last September, but I've really gotten in a bad negative place because my energy levels are super low. I still have 4 out of my 6 kids at home, and they're big and adults, and their plans were kind of messed up too. So, it's managing them and their emotions. And even though they're wonderful kids and my husband's a wonderful person, we got some land and he's like all about, let's grow an orchard and do all these fun things, but yet he's phlegmatic. So I see all the things need to be done. Right. And so I feel like every day I'm like, nobody's doing anything around here. Like, that's my new mantra, which you're caught me dead in my tracks. And that's why I'm doing this.
Oh, that is a great thought. That's a great thought to run through a creation cycle.
Let's do it, because I need it.
What did you say? Nobody's doing anything around here?
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you feel when you think that?
I mean, I want to kill somebody.
Yeah. Angry, frustrated, right?
Yes. And just like, why can't we all clean up after ourselves? Like we were in a really good role. I mean, I had 6 kids. I had to run a tight ship. And yet the 16 months threw us off like a lot of routines, a lot of like, kids don't get on their phones in their rooms. And like, a lot of that went out the window. So I'm mad about like our parenting kind of got, off. Some things that normally we held as really good values in our Christian home derailed, and but we're trying to get just back into life and our business and whatnot. And so I'm kind of like dealing with frustration with my sweet hubby, who's a great man, but I'm putting too much responsibility on him, because like on your downloads, when I have these thoughts, like, how can my teenagers treat me this way? I don't have this, like, parenting adult children is very difficult, and, I love them to death, but like, I often don't have a solution. So I know I need a better thought besides, really, like, are you talking to me that way? Like, how can I'm working on me, and I need to work on the thoughts I think of them, instead of, when are you moving out? Because I don't want to be that mom. I've already had 2 move out and I miss them dearly. One's in Oklahoma, so I think I'm just working back towards, okay, get my thoughts in order about everything, about this weight I need to lose, my lack of, you know, my low energy in the meantime, and just all the things. We have chickens, we got a new dog, we got new cats because we had to give them all away. We were moving out of the country. So we have to keep my 12-year-old happy, and she does feed the chickens. She's great. But just, the everyday I get so much in these negative thoughts that I'm like so ready to just get out of. So I don't know. I think that's without taking up too much time.
Yeah. Okay. And here's the thing. You might be so ready to get out of the thoughts, but my best guess is you're so ready to get out of the emotion that you're creating.
Yeah.
What would you say your main emotion is right now in this phase of your life? What do you feel most often every day?
Well, I will say, I think the weight gain is really wearing on me, because I've never been this big without a baby in my belly. And then
causing you to feel how?
Oh, I'm just that snobby person, like, really, like, you're fat. I know how to deal with that. Like, I did all the things. I was an athlete in college and I looked great until about 5 years ago. And things my thyroid just flipped after baby number 5. And I tried and tried. And anyway, I've actually healed a lot of things in the last year. Like, my thyroid's functioning better. I have a lot of positive going on. But I've learned a lot of bad practices on how to lose weight that I've done them all. And I don't want to.
We're going to talk about that tomorrow specifically.
Yeah.
But I want to get back to the emotion that you're feeling most often that probably is coming from the thought, nobody's doing anything around here.
And I can't do it all because I don't have the energy. So I have a dirty house, like
yeah.
that.
So what's the emotion though?
Frustration, I guess.
Frustration.
Any
hopelessness?
Hopelessness for sure. Just feel it. Yes. And then I don't like this. I don't like who I am. Like, why am I this grouchy person? Can I let things go?
Yeah. So here's what I was going to ask you. Have you been able to make any peace with the negative emotions, or do you find yourself sort of avoiding them, finding comfort in other things, food?
Food, emotional eating has definitely been a thing I've worked with for decades. I mean, back with Way Down Workshop. Hello, let's go there. But, I find I probably vent to my husband, and, he's recently shared with me that I've been negative. Like, it's causing issues, he doesn't want to be around me. And that's like, as hard as that is for me to hear, it's probably good for me to hear, because I need to get out of where I've been. And, so the Lord really convicted me. I had a sweet friend this weekend at a little barbecue. We were talking, and I said, she lives on a farm, 10 acres, talking about farm and cows and horses and pigs. And I'm like, I just have chickens and a dog. And so I was just saying, yeah, I'm really frustrated because my husband, he's awesome, but he's so laid back. He comes home and he wants to watch sermons online. He's an ex-pastor. He's a naturopathic doctor. So awesome man. But I'm like, can you go water the garden, or do, there's a dead tree out there that we just spent $75 on. And she's like, you got to let it go. And I'm like, I know. I mean, Frozen, that is the best thing out of Frozen, is I've just got to sing Let It Go. And, he even told me when we were, he's like, you do, let me learn, let my tree die, and then I'll get on it. I'm like, okay, babe, I will let your trees die.
Yeah. And I think often you're doing what a lot of us do when we feel kind of out of control. Then we want to try to control him,
yes,
and the kids and the animals. And the only thing that we can control is us, but we're way harder to control than,
I know,
right?
I know. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. When you think nobody's doing anything, this is so depressing, I feel hopeless, what actions do you take? We know what your husband does, but what do you do?
I might write down lists of things that need to be done. And I was getting really mad because our new house, our main bathroom, I used to have a half bath for the guests, right? Kept that clean. Our main bathroom, the kids use, it's dumpy all the time. And I just finally one day I was like, just clean it. Just forget. Like somehow we're out of this routine of every weekend cleaning. So I've just do it. When you have good energy, just go clean the bathroom that you hate, that when anybody drops in, they're going to see your boy's underwear on the floor. Just go in there and do it yourself. So, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of And I even get mad with that because I'm like, they're old enough. They should know better. But I don't know. That's what I've kind of done. Like, just go in there and spot treat it. I had a little girls' Bible study over for my middle schooler. And, I just went over, wiped the toilet seat off, wiped the mirror, picked up their stuff, threw it in their rooms. So just do it and don't get mad. It's just a bathroom. One day they're going to be gone and you're going to miss cleaning up their underwear. That's what I've been told anyway, but we'll see. I'll let you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So I think there are a couple of things here that might help you. I think the first thing that might give you a little bit of relief is that you're in a different situation, having a little bit of grace for yourself, even, right? Giving yourself a little bit of compassion, some
Right.
love. I think your brain is wanting to beat you up, and then that feels painful. So then we just want to beat everybody else up, right?
Yeah.
In our minds, at least, we want to like, well, it's their fault and it's his fault and it's their fault. And maybe just allowing that, yeah, this is what happened over the last year and we're humans, and having some grace and compassion, love for yourself in the situation, but also taking a look at, like, when you're doing your thought downloads, taking a look at what is running your day, right? And if you're continually having a thought like, this is terrible, nobody's doing anything around here, first of all, asking yourself, am I allowing the emotions that come with that? And then am I becoming more aware each day how I can change that thought, how I can just decide this is where we are right now. And whatever the thought is that you want to think instead, because nobody's doing anything. Remember, your thought will always show up in your result. So nobody's doing anything likely will show up as I'm not doing anything, right? That likely shows up as somehow nobody does anything. And often we're not doing anything about it, right? Instead of
Right.
creative solutions, like
Yes.
you said before, I used to run a tight ship. Well, you probably had thoughts then like, I
did.
am a great mom. I'm organized. I know how to get my kids to do their things, right? Like you lived in a different creation cycle back then.
Yes. And they were younger and it was easier to tell them what to do. Or I could, take their whatever away, their truck. But like now it's like, it's more challenging to know how to deal with, a 19 and a 20-year-old who are, trying to figure out life and get out of here. But COVID, messed some things up. So I love them and but yeah, it is. It's really trying to.
And I often like to ask myself, 5 years from now, which part of this is going to matter?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Guarantee you almost none of it.
I know. And I want to love them. I don't want to be the nagging mom. Like, I don't want to be that mom. And I don't, but yet I'm trying to figure out, do I just do their jobs for them when I don't always have the energy? So, and it's managing my own time and energy. I don't know. So
yes, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Tomorrow is the class for you. The only thing we can ever manage, because you said manage my kids, you can't manage other people very well. The only thing you can really manage well is yourself. And when you learn how to do that, you're way better at helping other people figure out how they might change, what they might do, setting better boundaries, maybe for yourself if you want to do that, or at least deciding, you know what, turns out I'm just going to do the chores and I'm either going to do them resentful or not resentful.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So I think you're on the right track, but I think, some patience for yourself, really taking a deeper look into what thoughts are running your day, what emotions are running your day, and are you happy with that?
Right. So you're saying pick a thought. When you ask that question, what's running your day? Did you mean what thoughts? Is that really what you were
Thoughts and feelings? Yeah, because
how I want to feel, like you talked about journaling at the beginning and kind of meditating on that.
Exactly. And then setting yourself up for, this is how I decide to show up. This is how I want to think and feel about this situation that we're in. This is quite an adventure we're on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thought I would have been living in this small space with all my kids? Like, there are lots of different ways to think about it that don't cause you to feel frustrated, resentful.
Right. And I feel like I've always fought for thinking on the good. I love the 4-8 Principle book by Tommy Newberry. I've had it like on, and I think I have, it's definitely derailed me. But yet I've been more intentionally focused on the good. Like, this property we live is beautiful and it's like I'm on vacation, but then I'll get derailed so easily from a sassy teenager who talks to me like, what in the world? Like,
Here's just something I noticed. That's a thought. I get derailed so easily.
I don't want
don't-
to.
You don't
Right.
have to keep that thought, right?
Yeah.
You can decide on purpose, like, yeah, I'm living with these adult kids and I don't get derailed. Just practice that thought and see what happens instead of letting ourselves feel like we're at the effect of them, like they're derailing me.
Right.
No,
I
I'm in charge of me.
Right. Well, then I think the next step though is how do I combat, a sassy girl that talks to me the way I would have never spoken to my mother, but my sister did. So that's where she probably gets
Well,
it.
I think part of it is you think that she shouldn't be talking like that. How many of you have teenage girls and how many of them talk sassy? Tell me in the chat.
Mm. See, my first one didn't. So this one and my third one hasn't, but this one does. So yeah, it's like this. I really have a hard time emotionally handling it because I'm like this chill. I'm kind of chill and like even keel, and I don't fuss and yell at people. And
Yeah.
so it's our personality difference. So it's
Yes.
extra.
And I totally get that because I'm not like that either, but I don't have a sassy teenage girl. I have a little boy who likes to talk like that. And I keep thinking to myself, he shouldn't talk to me like that. Guess what? He does.
No, I know.
So now what? Right?
Right. That's
So
the
how
question.
do I like, first of all, I really do think the first step is nothing has gone wrong. This is what humans do. And it sort of lessens, because what happens when you feel like this is wrong, I should change this, you feel urgent to like
Right.
react to what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But does that help?
I know. Well, I've stopped lecturing. I've got a really great book on this, but I really just am like, do I let it go? Do I go? I've learned to say, you didn't really mean that, did you? That's kind of my new line someone gave me. You didn't really mean to talk to me that way. I know you love me. I'm trying to say that more and just kind of play into it. But
yeah, and just trust yourself that you will know how to do it once you get control of yourself. I think the danger is they get out of control and then we mirror them. We get out of control.
yes.
And then it spirals in such a downward place. Right. Right.
Yeah. Right. You're
So
right.
that pause between what she says,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I see. She's being a human teenager who this is how she talks, right? And
Yeah.
I think a lot of times getting that pause in there so that we can decide, what do I want? I see what her creation cycle is. What do I want mine to be? Mine doesn't have to mirror hers. It just often does if we don't get awareness of it.
Right. Yep. That's good. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on. So nice to meet you.
Hope others my mess.
Yes, we all can. So good. All right, y'all. We're at the top of the hour. Thanks so much for volunteering to be coach today and practice this emotional allowance and emotional generation. I will say this, in our new planner, we make little tweaks all the time. We decided to put emotions to allow and emotions to generate as a daily prompt, so that this is in our next quarter planner, which you get free, by the way. If you join Life Mentoring School with a yearly membership, we'll give you a code to get one of these, just paying the shipping. If you do our yearly membership that we only are offering, you get 4 months free of the membership, and we're only offering it for the next few days, week or so, maybe less than a week, till we run out of planners. So this will help you on your journaling, help you on your thought downloads, and help you on emotions that you need to allow to process in your body, so that you can get really good control over those habits that you want to ditch and those ones that you need to begin. All right. So happy to have you here. I'll see you tomorrow. We will talk about creating energy for ourselves for this journey. Love y'all so much. See you tomorrow. Bye.